Hey everybody, today Maverick unboxes Xcom, the board game, which is a board game of global defense for 1 to 4 players by Eric Lang, put out by Fantasy Flight. What's in that box? Can't wait to dig in. So we have a game, a Fantasy Flight, and once again, if you've watched any of my unboxing videos, you know how much I gush over Fantasy Flight and the quality of their components and yada yada yada, and how they always seem to put out a perfect game. Well, let's see if they keep that up. So first off, we have a sheet of unpunched tokens. I think I've yet to open up a box without unpunched tokens, or tokens that don't need to be unpunched. And let's see what we have. Okay, I've watched quite a few playthroughs of this game, so I'm rather familiar with the components. So here you have your space bucks, and you have your satellite tokens that you will be deploying throughout the game. Your scientist tokens. I think these might be the hit tokens, you know, when your character takes some damage or when you deal damage. And we have other tokens. Here are some that show you the different nations. We have you know, I'll read the little summary of the game in a second so we can see which nations are shown. I see here in Africa, United States. Anyway, that's your tokens. We also have a very, very, very small manual. And there's a reason for that, which I'll go over and show you. But yeah, I did read about this, and this is your manual, folks. That's it. You're looking at it. Which basically shows you the setup, how to set up at the beginning of the game, what you should be getting inside the game. You have your mission cards, invasion plan cards, your role reference cards, your reserve cards, your asset cards, your tech cards, your crisis cards, enemy cards, Xcom dice, alien die, excuse me. Yeah, your credit tokens, your scientists, and your satellites, and your panic tokens, and your base damage and threat tokens, and success tokens, and HQ tokens, and then we have all the little plastic miniatures, which I sincerely love. I love miniatures. So let's see what else we have. Okay. And here we have your boards. The board. The one and only board. So before we go through everything else in the box, let's take a quick look at the board. And I remember it being pretty large in the videos. And yes, it is. Not too big. I've seen bigger boards, but this is rather large. I'll leave it open so you guys can, matter of fact, this is where your threat tokens go. And these are the alien cards that you're going to draw. And these are the different, what do you call them, turns, 1, 2, and 3. And this is your base. This represents your base, and as the numbers, I mean, as it goes higher, that needs to stay intact in order for you to stay in the game. And this is your when you roll your die, and whether you have success or not. So this is your success track, and that's nice. I'll bring this back up on the table and see what else we got inside the box. Catalog, great. Just what I needed, another catalog. Okay. Like I said, that's the manual, extremely thin. I've already shown you the tokens. Now, let me just quickly tell you why the manual is so small. Why is this manual so small, you may ask? Well, that's because the game relies... As a matter of fact, you need this to play the game. The game has an app that you must run as you're playing the game. And this has You know, it's basically telling you how to set up the game. It has an incredible introduction to the game as well as a tutorial mission. So as complicated as this game is, or it may seem to be, this walks you through it. You'll hit play, and you can even you choose how many players. In this case, I'll just punch one, and then I'll hit next. And how the difficulty, we'll use tutorial, and we'll hit next. And then it tells you, welcome to Xcom, the board game. Xcom is a cooperative game in which players fight against the alien invasion of Earth. The invasion is controlled by this app. Well, that's pretty loud. Lower that just a little. So, if players have not yet read the printed Getting Started guide, they should do so now, which is a very short read. In any event, you can always go back and look at the rules. And here you have a little table of contents. You can also go into the game overview. It tells you about the game, and you have options, which I think is just sound and music and language. You have an FAQ, and this is just a list of questions that a lot of, you know, the most popular questions that people ask. What it doesn't have, which surprises me, is a way to look up something you want. In other words, if you wanted to look up, oh, well, what happens when the aliens come into your base, there's no way to actually do a search. You have to actually scroll through this and say, all right, what are the base, where's base? Okay, here's base defense. And you can't really put in a search. So that bothers me a little bit. But in any event, that's why you have such a small manual, because you have a little app that you're going to be using throughout the game with some nice thematic music as you were listening. So let's continue. Next we have a set of dice, and we have four for the Xcom and one for the Alien. Now you don't roll every one of these. You'll read the instructions on whatever player you're using, and some of them use more than one and some use two, and sometimes you get a bonus depending on the card you drew, and you may use three. But these are successes, which are shown by this symbol here, and then you have 4 blank sides and 2 success sides. And then the Alien dice has numbers 1 through 8, and you have to roll a certain number. I believe it's below the threat number or whatever it is, but anyway, those are the dice. Then we have a set of mini cards, miniature cards. Let's see what these miniature cards look like and what they are exactly. Oh, these must be your threat cards. Yeah, discard 1 research tech. These cards are nice, and they're made very well. They're thick. They're not flimsy. They don't look like they will bend very easily, and they have that, you know, that woven fabric look to it. So that's nice. These are threat cards, and here are the Alien cards. If you roll a loss against this enemy, do not place any successes on it from the roll. And yeah, those are your Alien cards. So they're nice. I'm going to put these right here. And we have these must be the mission cards. Yeah, these are the mission cards. And we have mission cards. And what else do we have? And we have player cards. Or, you know, I guess these are also mission cards. No, these are mission cards as well. UFO crash sites. These are all mission cards. So those are your mission cards. A little bigger than a regular card. Again, also good quality. Good quality, strong paper. Always like that about Fantasy Flight. They never skimp. They don't mind paying a little extra for games from Fantasy Flight, because you always seem to get your money's worth. And we have navigational cards and Alien cards and weapon cards, and these are the different players you could be in the game. You could be a central officer, a commander, a squad leader, or a chief scientist. That's how everything is broken down. And as a single player, you play everybody's role. But the app is nice in that if you are playing a single player game, you know, it's a timed game. It's a timed, the rounds are timed. You play one round of timed actions, and then there's a resolve round that's not timed. But depending on the amount of players, the app automatically gives you more time for, you know, a single player as opposed to 4 people playing. But, you know, remember again, if you have 4 people playing and they all have their own roles, they're taking care of their thing, but you're doing your thing. So it makes it a little easier. So you definitely have to be on your game to play this. You can't think you're going to be, you know, playing this game half asleep, because it's just not going to work. It's one of those games where you really have to think ahead and plan and such. So definitely one of those. Okay. Anyway, finally we have the miniatures. Not bad. These are the UFOs. These are the UFOs that you're going to be, you know, the app will tell you put a UFO in Africa, or put a couple of UFOs in North America, and that's when you decide, or during that phase, you're going to decide how many jets you want to scramble. These are the jets, and you know, each one that you send out, you have to provide funding for, and you only get a certain amount of money per round, and you have to budget for everything. If you want to assign scientists to you know, study something, you have to provide $1 for one denomination of funding for that. So everything that you do in the game requires funding, so you can't just run out and send every jet you have and think that, well, if you know, you're going to have enough money to do everything. So you really have to do a lot in this game, including budgeting. And these are the, see if I can show you these. These are the ships or the jets that you're going to use to send out and intercept these UFOs. And inside also you have the little characters. These are nice. These are they're highly detailed, and they're rather sturdy. Think of it as, you remember those little army men, those little green army men that you used to play with when you were a kid? Well, these are a little bit better than that. So these are your players, and you have things like snipers, which I just showed you, and these are the, look at this guy's got one of these heavy bazookas or something in his hand, one of these huge guns. So he must be a special equipment player. And you have things like this, which these are, I think these are support soldiers. So that's it for the miniatures. Nice. I'm happy. Everything looks nice. So yeah. So like I said, this game relies heavily on your thinking. So this is not one of those games where you think you want to just, you know, casually jump into a game and, you know, not be all there. You definitely want to be all there for this game. And I can't wait to play it. So that's Xcom. Like I said, the digital app is required, so you will have to have that running next to you. And this game runs for around 40 or 45, depending on where you buy it and whether it's on sale. And it's a co-op game, by the way. It can be played solo, but again with some difficulty involved. But you know what? Sometimes that's the kind of game you want to play. You want some difficulty in your games, and if you do, then this is the game for you. Well, thanks again for joining me for another unboxing video. Until the next time, happy gaming.